Hey, and it's official. We are live day after round two of the NBA draft. And you know what? I think Pistons fans like their selection of Chaz Lanier. Show Brandon and Katie Trey Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. We got Summer Weathers in the building, part of the Woo crew, part of Wilbur Sports family. You know what? You got out on the field and you did some reporting at the Feldman Celebrity Invitational for the Children's Miracle Invitation that they were having. I know you got to talk with one Megatron too. Hey, shout out to Summer. Just any opening words.
Yes, yes. That was such a great event. I'm so happy I was able to attend that. But yes, Calvin Johnson, he's the one. Best wide receiver. But man, let's talk about them Pistons though. How you feeling?
You know what? I'm excited about what the Pistons did last night because I think it speaks more to the health of this organization. They're not dependent necessarily on these young players having to come in and pick up heavy minutes and heavy roles. You even think about those lower level first round picks that they traded back in, like Marcus Sasser, Sadiq Bey before him. You look at Isaiah Stewart, and they've needed these guys to play those minutes. Dennis Jenkins even played some minutes. And then when we went through the box score, we looked at Wendell Moore playing 20 games. Simone Fontecchio played 75 games. When I look at what they did with getting a Chaz Lanier, I'm excited about his skill set, his ability to contribute right away as an off-ball and a movement shooter. And he should have the minutes to do so, especially when you look at the fact that Trajan is thinking, maybe we run this thing back. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm actually so glad that he did keep everybody together because a lot of people wanted us to make that splash, but I was cool with us keeping like who we had last season. Even with, I hope they bring back Schroder. Like I need him to come back.
You know what, man? Let me say what I've done to the people. So keep that in mind, the Schroder stuff, because that's one that I've continued to go back and forth on. I will claim to be wishy-washy, and I think it's because I just want them both. I want Dennis Schroder here. I want Malik Beasley here. But I know we were saying if you could just bring back two, would he be one of those ones? But shout out to the chat family. I see you guys starting to get in here. I have to remind y'all because I know it's been a long time since I've been consistent with the lives because of the fact that now I'm on every day with Wake Up Woolworth, and I'm very appreciative of that and the support that we get. But I'm going to be trying to do a whole lot more of these lives, especially with some of the dogs we got from intern Noah to Summer Weathers to the Woo Crew to Willie B. You know what? Shout out to JB. You know what? I'm putting you on there, man. Shout out to JB. He didn't want to be here. I'm like, no, bro. We're going to get you on here one way or another. Chris Platty of the heavyweights. You know, we got a lot of ball knowers here. And I can't wait to be able to continue to bring the full cast of characters that will continue to help us build Woodward Pistons into the future. So shout out to you, Tom Hur. I see you. He said, whoa, we live? Hi, Brandon.
Yes.
Hi to you. Tom Hur is Korea Pistons fan.
Yes, I already know.
Shout out to my guy, man.
Shout out to him.
And he says, how do we feel about Chaz? We definitely going to get there. And he said, 100, 100, 100. We need Pistons content at times like these, man. I feel you on that. And trust me, I like Chaz. I'm going to read a couple more here from the chat, and then we'll get back into kind of talking about this thing. Because I do want to talk about Schroder, and then we'll get back into Chaz. But I see you in the chat. He says, Chaz Lanier won't matter with Cade Cunningham's ball hogging, stat padding, taking 20-plus shots per game. Come on, man. Cade Cunningham is one of your best facilitators in the game. His turnover percentage and turnover rate continues to increase. As you give this guy more minutes and as you give him more usage of minutes, guess what? The turnover rate goes down, the assists go up. So I'm looking forward to what this can be. More shooters around Cade. You saw an explosion of wins for them this year, man. So I want to make sure I'm paying everybody their attention. And I see Tom Hur. I'm so excited for Summer League. We're going to be at Summer League. So tap in. We'll definitely be doing lives and some content. So what did you say?
Summer at the Summer League.
It was a league, man. So. But Dennis Schroder, you talked about it. That is somebody who, the more and more I think about it, the more I'm looking at the free agents, people you would trade for, where you're getting a secondary ball handler who's willing to come off the bench, willing to back up Cade Cunningham. But in reality, this guy could have probably started on some teams in this league as a point guard. And you see what he did in the playoffs to up his game. Brings the defense, brings the grit. He's a guy you have to bring back, in my opinion. But word on the street via Mark Stein, so I want to make sure I shout out where I first saw it, that the Sacramento Kings are very intrigued, aggressively intrigued with one Dennis Schroder. They're willing to give him $16 million a year. So the Pistons, they got a couple exceptions that they can utilize. And I know right now, I believe Schroeder's locked in at a cap hold of $17 million, I think, with the Pistons. But if they were to bring him back on a taxpayer exemption or mid-level exemption, I think it's somewhere between 14.1 and 15.6 million a year. And one of those exceptions, they don't count against the cap either. But they do have the bird rights for Dennis Schroder. So if somebody goes out there and gives them some money, the Pistons can match and offer more if they wanted to. So they have the flexibility if they believe in him that much. What would you do? Because there might be a bidding war for not just Malik Beasley, who we know is getting some attention, but one of your faves, Dennis Schroder. You paying the bread?
I just want him back because if you watched him, I love when he's out there with K because it kind of takes off the load from him. And then it's like so important to have that veteran presence around this young team. Yeah. So I definitely think it's important for him to come back.
Now you know what? I'm gonna say something briefly. You preaching a little bit there on or a lot, but one statement that really stuck out to me was the minutes that Cade and Schroder play together. Mm-hmm. You know, when you look at Dennis Schroder in the playoffs, especially in those minutes that he and Cade got, I love those minutes. You look at him being able to take the pressure off, take the usage off, allow Cade Cunningham, whose legs were probably dead by the end of the season, allow him to be able to play a little off ball, be able to catch his breath. And where is he the better shooter? As a catch and shoot three-point shooter or with the ball in his hands? He's a better three-point shooter, outside shooter, as a catch and shoot player. And he and Jaden Ivey were getting that chemistry together at the beginning of the season before Ivey went down. Dennis Schroder was one of those players from a strictly, I'm a point guard, I'm a facilitator, I'm working to set you up. That's what he was doing. Whereas Jaden, you probably want him to be more score first. Dennis Schroder's a guy who he's a vet. He's bring you that savviness, and I think you want that mix with this team, man. It's consistency, like Trajan Langdon talked about.
And a great mentor for Jaden Ivey. So when he comes back, he can kind of, take notes from Schroder. So I gotta say, we need to bring Schroder back.
Yeah, bring him back.
Like the Kings, get away.
Hey man, and you guys know, golly, I don't know how I continue to not mention his name when we talk about Woodward Pistons. One of the most instrumental people in Woodward Pistons history, in the foundation of it, in the support of it, in the aspect of it that makes me continue to go. Me and this guy talk so much more than we've ever even done content, and that's Sean Murphy from Half Court. I just want to shout out my brother. Shout out to Sean, man. That guy is a boatload of encouragement, of talent. Please support From Half Court and my guy Sean Murphy, man. I promise you, and hopefully whenever things settle down on this end, we get back to that content because we were having some fun, Sean. Yes. I just want to make sure that I shout out to you, man. I know Summer knows.
Yes, Sean, shout out to you. You were a great help when I had a project for my journalism class. Big shout out to you.
Big shout out. I see him too, man. He said that he wished Cade and Beasley had those Detroit Kool-Aid legs. My boys' calves are cannon. Shout out to Sean, dog. I miss our content. We're going to have to get back to it. And I love you, brother. Continue to crush. He is credentialed. He got in some games this year with the Pistons and does a lot of great work with the Motor City Crew. So, hey, shout out to you, man. And I'm looking at a couple more things here. Here's Johnny, one of our, what would you call it, OGs. He says K and Ivey's are starters. Chaz Lanier, and Marcus Sasser as a backup backcourt. You know what? I'm actually bullish on Marcus Sasser, who they got another year of controllability with, and then they're going to have to make a decision on him. I am bullish on him. Shout out to Atlanta as well, intern Atlanta back in the building. But I'm bullish on him. And you looked at what he did when Cade Cunningham had to get the load management rest towards the end of the season. Marcus Sasser stepped up. And I like what Chaz Lanier can be next to him. I'm still very bullish on Ivey. Here's Johnny. I think we're in lockstep here. What about you?
I love Sasser too. Yes. And I think Sasser needs to have more minutes because he is a great point guard. So he can shoot, he can facilitate. Yes. But I say give him more minutes.
You know what, man? And that's the thing. If he wants those more minutes, it will come somewhere else because it does get a little bit tighter when you look at Chaz Lanier being here now. So, as it relates to the free agency outlook, I know some people thought that maybe the selection of Chaz Lanier, who shoots 40% and has shot this consistently the last 3 seasons from behind the arc on high volume, a lot of people thought maybe this spells the end for one of those vets. Maybe the Pistons are shoring up some things just in case one of these guys leave. But for me personally, I'm hoping they play with absolute dynamite. When you look at the Pacers, when you look at some of these teams and the outside shooting help and just the overall help they got from multiple players, that's where I'm hoping that Chaz Leonard is an add and not a replacement when you talk about outside shooting. Because you can never have enough three-point shooting. And this guy, he is a bucket.
Yes.
Absolute bucket. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of your folks. Your pops and your brother Magic. Look, man, her family is basketball royalty around here. I play ball with them. I'm telling you, they shoot from anywhere. We knew, dang, he shot. We just running down the other end of the court. That's what I see when I see Chaz Leonard here. It's this the Weathers family. He's Magic. That's her dad's name is. He's called Big Magic in our league, dog.
Man, please don't get me started on them. But yes, they can shoot the lights out. But no, I'm really excited to have Chaz with this group. I mean, like we've been saying, he's a really good shooter, and what makes him like really set apart is his versatility, because he's athletic too. He got hops, so I'm excited to see that as well. So we can't forget about that. But yeah, I think he's gonna fit right in.
I do too, man. I see Sean Murphy in the chat, man. I always love his insight. Well, one on Chaz Leonard really quickly. He says Leonard is 6'5". I thought so too. He looks a little taller than the 6'4". And I saw he put on some weight. So he's up from 199 to I believe about 210 now, if I'm not mistaken. I think the combine weight was. And he has that 6'9" wingspan. So the tools are there. The tools are definitely there. And he put on a little bit of weight since his college days. So he understands the concept of working. And I'm hoping that when he hits the NBA, I know this for a fact. We saw what changed with Ron Holland and Asar Thompson and Jaden Ivey underneath this current staff. I know Asar Thompson had a little bit of work to get done, to get back, because he had the blood clot issue, and this will be his first full off season. His first full off season in the NBA to just work, and which is crazy. A lot of these young players that we believe in, they're having their off seasons taken from them. Cade a couple times, Jade and Ivy now, but now you're looking at Asar, who I know the things that they're trying to help him develop, and this guy has a future ahead of him. But Lanier, I do believe in his ability to become a better defender off ball and in those dribble hand off and pick and roll situations, screeners and rollers and such. That's where I want to see him make sure he doesn't get lost. Got to stay engaged, got to keep the motor up. And as it relates to Sasser, Rashawn says, this is Sasser's prove it year. This season, his salary is $2.8 million. The next, it goes up to 5.1. If he doesn't put himself in a rotation this season, it could be the end of his time in Detroit. He has the skills, and he showed that he can do it. But this is where it's about what Trajan said, consistency. You want to see continuity and consistency. And as long as Marcus Sasser can be that dependable, not just in spurts, but across the whole entire season, I do believe he's a good add to keep for your team. And 43.1% from three last 5 years in college. He's game time ready. And a guy who I really liked in college last year, and I covered him in person at March Madness. I know you were at March Madness too, covering Oakland, and their incredible opportunity they had to be on the main stage. And Dalton Connect. And that guy was a guy I liked. And you know who played that role this year and played it quite well? Not to the full effect of a Dalton Connect. It was Chaz Leonard. And that's where I'm like, you know what? 40% from behind the arc. You're talking about a guy who, you're right, can get into the rim and wear Malik Beasley sometimes. He can throw it down sometimes. You usually see him laid up. Chaz Leonard can get to the rack and actually dunk it in traffic, dunk it on people. And that's why I like the fact they put on a little bit more weight, because at the NBA level, the thing that can really stunt the development, especially in year one of a young player, is their weight training. It is their strength. So I want to see him get stronger, because you notice his game is a lot about the bouncing off, the physicality, the pick and roll, the pick and pop, getting to the rack. If he doesn't have that strength up, then you're going to see those parts of his games diminish just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
And I'm seeing, here's Johnny says, THJ, Schroder, and Beasley may be tradable or gone. So what are you thinking? And that's so hard.
Since you can play as a team over the cap, I'm actually for the thinking of you bring them back at some good deals and you figure it out from there. If there's one that turns into a pretty good trade candidate, then you got a vet that you can trade. But I do believe, hey, these guys, you bring them back, they have the ability to. You can play in free agency and then re-sign your guys and go over the cap if you believe that this is the recipe that you want to cook with. And then you think about next year, Tobias Harris and his $26 million is coming off the book. So maybe this year is a year that they just bite it. knowing that they got some financial freedom just ahead. And so I kind of want the shooters. I want the vets, because you're talking about one of those guys going, and that's literally a quarter of your vets. Two of those guys going, and that's half of your vets out the window who played really big roles for you in the season. I know some people are quick to say just let Tim Hardaway go. Tim Hardaway led this team by a long shot in charges drawn, charges taken. I laughed at media day when he said, "Yeah, someone asked, well, what are you gonna bring?" And he's one of the things he said, "Y'all know I'm gonna take charges," and people chuckled. I even chuckled. Then I realized, like, seeing him, like, this guy feels like he's getting a charge every other game. It felt like, and he's putting himself in position defensively to be somewhat of a paint deterrent. I'm not gonna say paint protector, but a paint deterrent. And so I do want to see all these guys come back. I think that they, beyond just shooting, and beyond just being a vet, that they do play scrappy. Malik Beasley, besides Ron Holland, Malik Beasley was the first player I saw this season dive on the floor, the vet. And we saw him do this a lot. We saw him work to get the crowd fired up. And you guys already know how I feel about Dennis Schroder. That's been kind of the topic of one of the main topics, Dennis Schroder and Shaz Lanier of this live. And I like those vets. I think if Trajan Lane is saying he's comfortable running it back and seeing what these guys can do with some minor tweaks, if we know they can still go out there and probably bring in one decent to big level player and still bring back these vets if they want to play a little bit over the cap, I'm actually okay with seeing what that is, because they've given themselves the flexibility to do so, and they can always go and unburden themselves at the trade line. Shout out to Sean B, man. A Big D Energy is about to get started here in about 15 minutes, but we wanted to make sure that we went live to be able to talk to you guys and answer your questions. Largely it's a mailbag, so we're going to continue to go through, look at the comments. If there's some comments you see in there that you want to respond to, hey, let's rock.
Capital J, he says, I think Dennis is gone and Beasley stays.
I think that it has a chance to work out that way, but I hope it doesn't, because I just don't know, unless you believe Sasser is ready, where you're going to get that level of contribution at the guard spot. And you know what? Where I love Sasser's motor, sometimes motor cannot overcome your limitations from a physical standpoint. And I believe that sometimes Sasser can get picked on defensively, whereas Schroder was very stout defensively, especially in the playoffs against one Jalen Brunson. Definitely. Any other comments on that?
That is very, very true. Santi or Portis will be perfect, is what Tom says.
Santi Aldama from the Grizzlies, Bobby Portis. Do you have a feel? Here, I think that Santi Aldama gives you the higher potential, more risk involved, lower cost. Bobby Portis is going to give you a player who gives you that grit, that ruggedness. He's going to get you some rebounds. It's going to get you some versatility on the offensive side of the ball, and I think he gives you another one of those vets on your squad. So, Santi Aldama, though, you're talking about floor-stretching big man who has shown the ability to put the ball on the court, shown the ability to operate in the paint a little bit, and it's clear Memphis, they want to bring him back for like $14 million, but supposedly that number might be, or $13 million, but supposedly that number might go up on the free agent market. Is there one you prefer, more the gritty, grizzled vet, or more of the kind of potential 7-foot, young big?
I gotta go with Bobby Portis, because I think having a veteran presence, like, I just think it's so important to have like more vets on the team, and plus we need that grit mentality. So I think he might fit right in as well.
Yeah, and you know what? Because I'll be for real, I am a Santi Aldama stan, but I'm of the thinking that you actually find yourself in a position to maybe take a swing at two of those types of bigs, depending on how the money rolls. The Pistons have $24 million in usable cap space, practical cap space, if they relinquish the holds on the other players that are free agents. Once they relinquish those, once they sign their other guys, they're able to go over the cap though to bring back those free agents. So if the Pistons want to bring back one or two difference makers, they actually have the opportunity to do that. So, hey, you know what? Hey, I see you, Yashuan. Hey, this is another one of our guys that is supported from the beginning. He said, "Hey, what up, though? Kool-Aid, what up, though, to you, brother?" Tom Her, I like that, man. Santi or the Portis one. But Team Savant thinks we need PJ Washington, another one of those kind of gritty type guys. But what do you think? Is it a needle mover for you?
I don't think so. That's kind of hard, but from what I've seen, it would work. Like, I would like him for like that gritty, he has that, that heart that he plays with. But as far as the shooting though, that's where I'm like concerned, because he was kind of inconsistent, but I don't know. It's hard.
PJ Washington, that is a decent one there, man. That's an interesting one because you're looking at 14 and a half, 15 points, almost 8 rebounds, 2.3 assists, which means it's a guy underneath the right tutelage, underneath with the right team and the right direction. I think that you can even get more of the stat sheet stuffer that he's shown himself to be. And, he's an individual who that's not a bad one. That's not a bad one, Team Savant. That's not at all. PJ Washington's a guy who there's been rumors, there's been like talk, and for some reason though, it just doesn't feel like the Pistons are sold on PJ Washington. Yeah. I don't know why. They've, in my opinion, have had opportunities in the past, but I'm not against this one as kind of one of these, low risk. You're not looking for a whole high amount of reward, but you're gonna get some quality out of this thing. I actually like PJ Washington, and I see some other people in the chat. Capital J, he likes PJ Washington. Willie B in the chat, Creative World Films. He says smart move to get PJ. Yep.
When he's hot from three, when he gets hot, I mean that would be good too. So
that's true.
We got options.
I mean, we're to the point now where we don't even need to have the usage for some of these guys. Like, if this is 3 years ago, even, this is how crazy this is. If this is even 3 years ago, PJ Washington is here and is probably playing one of the most important roles on the team. Mm-hmm. But now, with the health of the organization, the maturation of K stepping into stardom, it's a little bit different. Now you can come here. The usage doesn't have to be completely through the roof for, think about it. Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic came here and their usage was through the roof. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not even to that point anymore. Now we're to the point where you can bring them here. And I think the team culture, I believe JB Bickerstaff has a command over that locker room. And there's enough players in that locker room who've bought in that you're not going to have a situation like Cleveland, where the star player, Donovan Mitchell, didn't buy in. And look how soft they flamed out a second year in a row. Clearly, it's not JB Bickerstaff. So, I do believe that a PJ Washington is a type of a player that he definitely can have a handle on and be able to have him fit seamlessly with this team. So that, I think, is a good one. And Capital J, do the Pistons sign Ivy this year or next? And what about Jalen Duren? I know Trajan Langdon was asked about that, and he seems very non-committal about doing something with those players this year because they are extension eligible this year, but they become restricted free agents next year. What that means is they have the opportunity next offseason to either sign them to a big deal. If they thought that they were going to get crazy money in the offseason next year, they probably move to get a deal done right now. But they can wait till next year, see what the deals are, and decide, do we want to sign and trade? They can decide, do we want to match the deal? And so they give themselves the most flexibility to be able to see what is the market gauging and if they want to let that player walk and enjoy that money, or if they want to flip one of these players potentially at the trade deadline, giving an RFA, maybe not bird rights, but restricted free agent rights to another team. So it's going to be intriguing to see what they do with both of these players. And I think that both of them are guys you want to bring back, but the money is going to make the difference. But you do have Tobias Harris money coming off the books next year. It's just a matter of what you're doing at that 4 spot. So let me see here. I think we got time to get to a couple more. Summer League starts July 10th. Here's Johnny.
Let's go.
Bro, I can't wait. I'm gonna be down. I might get down there like that Friday or Saturday. I might fly in, but I can't wait to be down there. Let me see. Anything else you see interesting there? I see Team Savant on PJ Washington again. He can guard 3s, 4s, and 5s. I like that, man. I like that. The people in the chat are on one right now. You see anything else, though?
Varese, can't wait to see Chaz and Bobby shred Summer League. Hey.
Let me say, I'll throw the live, all right? Look, shout out to Summer. I told you guys, reporter extraordinaire. You already got the opportunity to talk to Bobby Clinton and get the vibes. Excuse me. And I actually got to meet his family in Summer League, of all places. So I can't wait for that. But what are your thoughts on Bobby Clinton?
Oh, I'm excited. Even despite his injury back in the beginning of the season, he did really, really good on the Cruise. And I'm excited for him to, be back on the Pistons. So I think it's going to be a great year for him.
Let me see. I see Varese. I don't know if Ron going to play, but him as well. If Ron plays, I think he's going to own Summer League. I actually don't even want to see him play, but he's a young player. You want to see the confidence continue to build. You want to see him in game action, work on certain things. Look, when they go down to Summer League, it's not even necessarily to work on what you're going to be. They put you in situations to see what is the potential ceiling of this player. They already got roles for these guys. In the NBA, when you're a role player, it's legitimately that, a role player. And they got schemes and things for you to do. But when you get to Summer League, is where they'll start to say, let's see if you're a point forward. Let's see what positions you could defend beyond what we would normally have you in, just to see, okay, when we map out the development plan, when we map out what they're going to work on for the rest of the summer, now we have a little bit more of the metrics against actual players who are trying to rip their heads off. Summer League competition for a young player, they're going up against guys who are trying to at least make the G League. They're going for guys who are trying to hoping they can get a $20,000 contract at the very least. And then some guys who know I can snag an NBA roster. And so it creates a pretty cool situation for them to be able to go in and be able to figure out what's next for that player. And that, if Ron Holland plays, that's what I'm hoping they do. But if he goes out there and he absolutely dogs them in game one and potentially game two, I would expect that they turn down his minutes and his ability to even play. So let me see.
Tolton Smith.
Hey, yeah, because you covered Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Creative World Films. Okay, so Tolu Smith. I actually don't know what's gonna happen with that, but he did play really good for the Crew, so I definitely have to give him that. I just don't know. Like with this team, it's so many different things that we can do. But looking at the roster of what we do have, where do you see this team in next year? Like what seed?
Hey, you know what? Shout out to my guy Yashwan Judah. I see you. He said the Pistons have a chance to be a top 3 team in the East with all the injuries. I was saying top 4 as currently constructed. And then all of a sudden the East just opened up for them to a degree. And some of these other teams, though they're making moves to bolster, they're going to have to find that consistency and that continuity because they're adding new players. The Magic are adding Desmond Bane, who is a usage hog. Who knows how that does necessarily mesh on the fly with a Paulo and a Franz, even though I do like the move. So I do believe that the Pistons are going to be a top 4 team this year, but it's tough when you look at some of the other squads. If the Pistons who they showed us in the playoffs, they will be a top 4 team. They will be. What about you? What do you see?
Well, I got to agree with Corey King. I say 1 or 2. Corey King, shout out to him. 1 or 2. I agree with you. I got 1, though.
You got what?
I got 1. You already know. Yes, always.
Let me see here. And, hey, this was Ruben's video. If you want to read that one.
Okay, yep. What moves do we need to make to beat the Knicks next year?
What position do you want to see them go get? I think it's got to be in the front court, but who is that?
Oh, gosh. Let me think on that. Let me let you go first. Hold on.
Oh, man. Look, right now, I'm all about the front court players. Hey, you know what? We got Flannel in here, too. Ruben's videos is asking, what moves do we need to make to beat the Knicks next year to really take that next step forward? You got here, bro. What do you want to see? Because you got the Nazes, you got the Portises. Pull up a chair, my good brother. Talk to the good people.
Oh, man. I would probably say at this point, at the very least, a stretch big. Bobby Portis, Naz Reid, Santi Aldama. That's probably what would put the Pistons over the top, and hopefully they're a little healthier come playoff time. Although you can't bank on that, but that did play a factor. Not trying to take away credit from the Knicks, but that did play a factor.
Definitely played a factor, man. And shout out to Flannel Sam as well. I know I just on the fly saw him walking in the studios of Whooper Sports, Lady James, and Birmingham Row. So whenever you guys get a chance, definitely make sure that you stop in and say what up, though. But we're talking to Pistons. We're about to wrap up here soon. We got a few minutes. He actually just got off of Woodward Wings. So shout out to Flannel Sam for giving us this time. And I agree with what he's saying. I 100% agree with what he's saying. Like he's preaching there, man. Good to see you, brother. Hey, but I think he's preaching. Let me see here. Team Savant said to beat the Knicks, just bring back Ivy and Stu. I'm not against that, bro. I'm bullish on those guys. I've been saying it for a long time. I have to go back and find the clip because I told the people. And I was called a madman. I was called crazy. Summer, bro, they were ready to lock me in an institution. You remember when the Beef Stew craze reached its peak when he got his name? And we thought this guy is the next Ben Wallace. I told people, look, I don't think I know everything about ball, but just from my perspective of viewing ball, when the Pistons are good again, he's going to be a guy that's coming off the bench because of his certain limitations. But it's better because it allows him to be this Tasmanian devil off of the bench. And what did we see this year? JB Bickerstaff literally went and did that. Put him on the bench, gave him the 20 minutes, and it maximized all of his efficiency. It made his stocks go up. That's blocks plus steals per game. And he was finishing better around the rim, finishing better from a plethora of places on the court, being able to pump fake and get to the rim, being able to pass and things of that nature. We saw him take that necessary step, man. And I believe Stu is a integral part of what this team is and their identity and their heartbeat. And in Jaden Ivey, yes, I do believe Jaden Ivey has that star in Detroit potential. You know, people don't want to give, like, sometimes Joe Dumars and Rip Hamilton, they're just due. But I do believe that Jaden Ivey is in the same vein as those two guards. Not necessarily the same type of player, but in terms of a high-level two guard who can play next to a high-level one and be able to be the perfect complementary guard to the point that you can potentially be all-star level, I will 100% believe that about Jaden Ivey in this backcourt next to Cade Cunningham. And I'll let you have the last word on that or anything else before we wrap up.
Breakout season for Ivy. But yes, I agree with you 100%. I definitely, Stewart, he brings that heart and that fight. And it's just so important for him to, like, just do what he does best. And I think he's like the heart of the team. I love his game, and I'm excited for what he's going to do this upcoming season because, as always, it's Detroit versus everybody.
Let me see here. A couple more before we close up. Hey, make sure you guys get over to Woodward Sports. Woodward Sports, Big D Energy is about to start at 11. So make sure you're supporting the network, and we'll definitely keep you guys up to date on things that are going on here. Tonight, you guys see I got my Red Wings gear on. I'm supporting our Woodward Wings crew. That dude, Justin, Flannel Sam, and Spimo Racks of the heavyweights. They're doing their NHL draft show tonight. So go ahead and support them tonight. And then Saturday, they're also going to do a free agency primer. So thank you guys for supporting us. We're going to get Summer involved in some more content and her own platform too. And can't wait to bring more to you guys. But thank you for being here. If you get opportunity to, smash that like button and put in the comment section, not in the live chat, in the comment section of the YouTube, put who you want them to get in free agency. And what else should they put in the chat? You just said it. Tell them.
Detroit versus everybody. Type it now.
That's the show. Love y'all.